Okay, welcome back. Black Box Games, Episode 5. The original Donkey Kong. And my high score in Donkey Kong, pretty low. Looks like 117,400. The fifth board elevator stage. And this is a pretty tough game to score chase. Donkey Kong, no need to talk about all the history and all that. It is definitely a challenge. It's a great, fun platforming score chaser. Racking up points you're given plenty of opportunities to rack up points. That's not the issue. It's that this game has quite possibly the most brutal learning curve. By the time you get to board 3's elevator stage, it's very difficult to master. 99% of players will not master the elevator stage. It just requires so much in the way of like reflexes and paying attention. This is also, I've pointed out with like Mario Bros. And Balloon Fight, and even to a degree Ice Climber, that when I'm score chasing those games, I can kind of relax a little bit. Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. and Donkey Kong 3 also, as well as Pac-Man, but chiefly Donkey Kong, you absolutely cannot relax. You have to be dialed and focused and paying attention to what you're doing. It is a very frenetic score chasing game. By the way, just a quick point. When I make these suspend points on my NES Classic Mini, all I'm doing is saving the high score. I'm not abusing it so that I can get a high score. I'm a purist. I believe that you have to get it all on the first go. If you can't get it within one try, there's no point. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump in. I do like this game despite the fact that it is pretty difficult. I don't expect that we're going to do too well, but that's okay. As long as I get about 100,000 points, I'll be happy. And commentary, I'll try to keep it going, but it may be limited just because this is you do have to be paying attention. So I find it impossible. Well, first off, let me just point out, I do have it was a repro card of Donkey Kong for the NES. Remember, it was made by a small company called Golden Age Games, and they insisted it was a little bit more than meets the eye than just a cheap flash card, but it was a NES compatible cartridge of Donkey Kong that had the missing Cement Factory stage. And I've actually played it on my channel. I normally don't do repro cards, but if it's a game that you can't get any other way, like Mario 2 Japan, I have one for that made by the same company, and one with the missing Donkey Kong with the missing Cement Factory level. So if you want to see that, it's one of my first videos. I was score chasing that. And getting back to what I was saying, I find it near impossible to talk about Donkey Kong without bringing up The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters. Granted, it's a dramatized documentary. It omits a lot of pertinent information in the interest of telling a compelling story. Like it leaves out a player by the name of Tim Serby, who I think in the year 2000 or 2001 actually broke Bill Mitchell's record set back in 1982. And the story with Bill Mitchell is so complicated by this point, I can't follow it. I know he's been having issues suing people left and right for defamation. It's hard to keep track of. I do, in one regard, sympathize with Bill Mitchell. The documentary did, and I left a lot of points on the table there by not picking up the hammer and trying to break a few fireballs. But the documentary, Bill Mitchell, maybe he did do some sleazy things. I don't. It's hard to say unless you were there. But the documentary certainly paints him in a very negative light. It's very easy to say Steve Wiebe good, Bill Mitchell bad. Probably more than that. The documentary obviously edited so that a bonehead audience can take a look at Bill Mitchell and have their villain. All right, and we're only on board 2, and already things are starting to pick up. And I just got an extra life. A lot of these old Score Chaser games on the Nintendo, you get 1 extra life for reaching a point threshold, and that's it. The rest is, you got to do it on your own. And full disclosure, the last few days when I'm not recording, I am just kind of goofing off and score chasing. And I know the intention of this channel is to record and score chase. I haven't gotten around to it yet. But I was so jazzed the other day about almost setting a new Donkey Kong Jr. high score that I started playing some Balloon Fight and some Mario Bros. And I did in fact top my Mario Bros. High score. I got all the way to like phase 71 with a high score like 68,000, or excuse me, 680 something thousand. Going well over my original high score of 555,000. And Balloon Fight, my original high score I think was like 150. I got like 330,000. So it's taking quite a bit of restraint for me to not. You want to come up the ladder so I can smash the fireball? There we go. But it's taking quite a bit of restraint for me not to keep going and keep score chasing, because I'm deathly afraid of setting any more high scores, or worse, setting a high score that's really far out of reach before I've gotten around to, recording score chasing. Alright, good. We're gonna get the bonus item. But I will pin the full documentary, King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters. Just keep in mind, it is dramatized. We don't really know what's accurate or what's not accurate. I think the big takeaway is that Twin Galaxies was run by nincompoops. The big reason why there was such a problem was because those guys were in fact kind of gatekeeping the classic arcade score chasing. Okay, and we're only on board 3. This game ramps up in difficulty very quickly. we do on this. I think I'm getting a little bit better at these elevator stages. By board 4, it's incredibly difficult. Here on board 3, it's still a little more manageable. I think you have to be watching what side, how far away it is from Donkey Kong's foot, as it appears, the springboard. I don't know, that's my method, and it's probably wrong. It worked that time, but we may not be so lucky by the time we get to the 4th board. Oh, Wild Barrel. Yep, this game is merciless. Only on board 4, and we're already getting clobbered by Wild Barrels. Might not have a good score this time around. Only 65,000 points in. Alright, this is where the game really becomes excruciating. close call. Maybe I am getting better. I'm probably not, but it's nice to believe I am. So even if you are, if you're a fan of Donkey Kong or classic video games in general, I still think there is some fun to be had in watching the King of Kong: A Fistful of Quarters, even if they did, overly dramatize it, playing heroes and villains and all that. Because there's still some really cool parts. Like, I always love... Excuse me. I'm sorry, this game requires so much focus. But I always love watching the part where, parts where, like, Rob Rookchek is talking about what makes Donkey Kong such a interesting and great game. Man, these fireballs are really aggressive. They've got me dead to rights. So all in all, where does this fit in with the black box games? This brutally addictive, merciless with difficulty, absolute treat to play. Still fun after all those years, even if it is quote-unquote incomplete. And I always find myself saying, if you could turn back the clock, pretend it's, 1986 or whatever, how would you have felt about this game? You probably would have loved it. This is way better than what the Atari had to offer at the time. Oh! Well, at least we're closing in on 100,000, which is a pretty average game for me. I always think of that line also where Walter Day, who honestly strikes me as something of a nincompoop, but Walter Day says, for you to score even a single point higher in a game of Donkey Kong or Pac-Man represents a tremendous increase in skill. I always liked that. I always thought that was kind of a cool way of, explaining why scores matter, particularly in an old score chaser game. Okay, we're over 100,000. That's nice. Not too far away from our high score. I doubt I'll get it, though. I'd have to have a really good run on this elevator stage. And I believe this is where my high score, when the one I have on my save suspend point, where it died. I know expert players, really skilled players are capable of making that jump. Oh, look at that. Nicely done. Maybe we will set a new high score. Maybe I am getting better at the elevator stages. Wishful thinking, right? Alright, whichever ladder you choose. Oh no. Alright, just about at a new high score. Which is pretty awesome, because I am pretty rusty at this game. I just popped it in. Yep, there's our new high score. But I'm pretty rusty at this game. I really haven't played all that much of it lately. Alright, this brings us to board 6. Alright, so basically whatever points we can rack up for the remainder of this game, that's just icing on the cake, because I really don't expect to get much further. We're playing with house money. And what's really fun about this point in the game is the game just throwing so many opportunities for you to rack up your score and get points. Alright, here I'm probably going to get clobbered. Man, would I love to reach 150, though. I think we're going to forego that bonus item there. Oops. Man, anticipating, that's got to be the absolute toughest. I get it. Like, I understand why it's as difficult as it is. Anticipating that next springboard is so brutally tough. It's the toughest part of the game, right there. Anticipating and reacting to it. Ugh. Okay. Yep. That's okay. 133,800, new high score, all the way to level 6. Just showing off Donkey Kong, what makes it such a great black box chase game. Very happy. So, unfortunately, we did set a new high score. It's going to be tougher to break, but this is a game we're definitely going to be coming back to and score chasing in the future. Thanks for stopping by. Didn't get 150,000. That's going to be the next milestone. So stay tuned. More black box games coming.